Now I know y'all have seen it before on social media, those stick welders laying down some slick old welds, stacking the dimes. And we've talked about this before with MIG welding in some previous videos, but on today's video, we're gonna focus on 60-10 and a little bit of 80-10s on plate and pipe, open roots, the whole 9 yards. And we're gonna see if we can't stack a bunch of crispy ripples on top of each other. We're not gonna use anything crazy as far as a welding machine today, just this little $500 Weld-Pak from Lincoln. Let's get started. Let's bring it back to the basics, the fundamentals, taking a piece of metal, putting it in the flat position, and just running some beads on it. What we need to know about a 60-10 electrode is some of its characteristics of deep penetrating profile. We can probably weld through some grit and some crud, as well as being able to fill up some nice open roots and some gaps. Without getting into all the characteristics, the strengths, the flux, and all the other science that goes behind it, what I really want to talk about is the techniques that we're going to use, no matter if we're welding on a flat piece of plate, moving into multi-pass fillet welds, open roots, capping on pipe, and that's going to be your hot whip and your cold whip techniques. And you might be asking yourself, what are we talking about? Whipping what? We ripping the rod, fool. Now when you go about whipping your weld, you're just pulling ever so slightly out of your puddle and pushing back into it. That will help control your heat input and help control your penetration with this type of electrode. Now in the situation you're in, might dictate the amount of distance that you come out of your puddle and back into it. What is known as a hot whip technique is simply just coming ever so slightly out of your puddle, just pulling forward and just pushing back just a little bit. I'm talking just a skosh. And what this does, it makes that puddle a little bit hotter, a little bit more fluid, a little wetter of a puddle when you're using this 60-10 electrode. Now, if you get a little bit more into a bind and you need to come a little bit further and give that puddle a little bit more time to cool, we call that the cold whip. We're just pulling out of that puddle just a little bit more, and you can actually watch behind and see that puddle solidify before you go back to deposit even more metal. Again, depending on the situation that you're in, it's kind of what's going to dictate this. Your welding position, the open root, the metal you're welding on, you might do these hot or cold whip techniques. Now, if you think you've got the gist of it when it comes to welding on a flat piece of plate, I really recommend moving on to something like a T-plate. Doing a multi-pass fillet weld is really going to help you fine-tune your skills as you go about practicing these whip techniques. You'll probably do mostly a hot whip technique, but you might find yourself on that top edge doing a little bit of a cold whip. But all this really does is if you're practicing your bead placement, your rod angle, and all your overlapping welds on a T-joint, there's just so much room for practice. You can sit here and weld so many beads. You can weld 1 bead, 2 bead, 3 bead, 4, 5 bead, 6 bead, 7 bead, more. What I'm getting at is a multi-pass fillet weld is going to teach you a lot of the fundamentals that is going to directly translate to pretty much every other avenue, especially groove welds and moving into your open root and your pipe welds. Nothing really shows true skill with a hot or cold whip technique than doing some open root welding, maybe a vertical up, or even puddle capping pipe. Putting a big old bead on a piece of pipe shows a lot of skill when it comes to this rod. Now the best way that I'm going to be able to show y'all a good open root or puddle cap on pipe, you might have seen this guy floating around. This is our little Mecha Weld camera. Obviously it's super small. It kind of goes wherever I need it to go. It's very plug and play, I think is the word to use, because it's only got a power cable and an HDMI cord and you're ready to rock and roll. It filters out pretty much all of the arc, which is really nice when it comes to welding because I think the arc is super distracting and you really need to be focusing on your puddle. And that's pretty much the only thing that you get. You guys have seen it. This camera makes a super clear picture. It's one of the highest resolution cameras they have for arc shot cameras these days. This is typically used for like an automation setup or like a cobot or a robot so that you can really focus on the weld while you're welding. Well, we're using it so we can show you guys how to weld no matter what process we're doing. TIG, MIG, today we're doing stick, and we're putting it through the test today with a whole bunch of weld spatter. They said it can handle it. We're going to see if it can handle this 60-10 and 80-10 beating I'm about to put on it. Now, as much as I want to make this video about doing open root 60-10s, that's not what we're doing today. We're talking about hot and cold whip techniques, which I think the open root truly does demonstrate why you would want to pick one or the other. But it's not necessarily a preference. I'd say it really boils down to your fit up, almost 100%. If you have a much tighter fit up, you're going to need a hot whip technique. You want to stay in that old dog, stay in that keyhole a lot better. I don't necessarily love just dragging one, especially in the vertical up position. You know, it's different for those pipeliners and they're going downhill. They're going to also have a really tight gap. They don't need to do a whole lot of that whipping technique. But as that gap starts to get a little bit wider, you're going to start seeing a lot more coming up out of that keyhole. Give it a little bit of time to cool before I can stack on top of it. This is that 1/8 inch gap on this right side, which isn't necessarily a bad deal, but in the real world, you're going to come across all different types of fit ups, and you're going to need to know how to handle each one. I highly recommend you guys going to check out the video we did a long time ago, which is why am I blowing holes in my open root? Because it's not just your fit up that's going to change everything. There's a number of variables that are going to be contributing to why you have an aggressive keyhole, or you're going so far that you're actually blowing a hole in your open root. But for in this case, we're doing a hot whip technique, staying in that keyhole a little bit more as we go vertical and start stacking that metal on top of itself, whereas that gap gets a little bit wider. I'm coming up, not away, I'm coming up into that keyhole, and then I'm bouncing off the bottom, coming up to the top, watching that sucker cool before I come back down on it. That's a cold whip. Now, it's one thing to do, your stringer beads, your whip and pause, and being able to figure out an open root weld. But if you really want some real respect with your welder peers, being able to puddle cap some 500 wall pipe shows a lot of discipline when it comes to being able to manage your hot and cold whip. Something I still haven't figured out how to get perfect myself, but that's where we're going to probably switch to this bigger electrode, this 8010. A couple of hands I'd like to quickly shout out who I think have really perfected this puddle cap stuff on pipe. You got Wally from Wally's Welding World, Nate from Slickman, and Miguel, aka Puddle Pimp. You guys should go check those dudes out. Now, the reason why this is so impressive to carry one big old bead on a piece of pipe is just being able to reach your bevel edges with one puddle and carrying that much metal. I really recommend, if you can, to just go and roll one out first just to get the feel for it and try to make that big old bead on the top of the pipe, because that's the easiest part. And I'll admit, it takes a lot of foresight as you go about getting ready for a cap with this type of rod. You have to have your fills pretty much perfect for your cap to come out the right shape and size and not have any low spots in between your stacked dime looks, because it is that critical. You're supposed to be just pulling forward just a little bit and really pushing back that metal back on top of itself so you can build it up. And again, it being impressive not from doing a rollout weld, but when you start welding this sucker in position, you go across that dead man's curve. Yeah, they got a name for that sucker. Your puddle just wants to go. It wants to run. Gravity's not your friend, right? It's molten metal. And as you work your way down and get underneath it, trying to make the bottom look like the top, it's a whole nother story. When you're welding a pipe in position, you're gonna have to manage your hot whip and cold whip and maybe even change it. And you're not maybe going back and forth anymore. You can do circles, you can do side to sides. You got to do something in order to get to those bevel edges fast enough. You don't want to outrun your puddle, but you kind of have to a little bit on the side. And then once you're on the bottom, it's really about just maintaining what you did on the top, but without getting roasted. It's just like anything else, guys. There's levels to this stuff. If you want to see a deeper dive on any piece or level of this video, I'd love to show y'all. I may not be able to show y'all how to perfect puddle capping on pipe, but I'm going to practice a little bit, or at least I'll find someone who can. Thanks for watching, y'all. Ew, I got burned.